The man who was in George Floyd's SUV the night police approached appeared in court for his own case. Law&Crime's Anjanette Levy's here to tell us what happened and other legal troubles for Morries Hall that he could face. Anjanette?
Jesse, George Floyd's girlfriend testified that she and Floyd would often buy drugs from Morries Hall. And one defense attorney in Minneapolis believes that could be just one of the reasons that Hall does not want to testify in Derek Chauvin's trial.
Courtney Ross testified tearfully about how she and George Floyd became addicted to opioids.
Both Floyd and I, our story, it's a classic story of how many people get addicted to opioids. We both suffered from chronic pain. Mine was in my neck and his was in his back.
Ross testified that Floyd often bought drugs from Morries Hall and that she took Floyd to the hospital 2 months before he died because he had overdosed. He spent 5 days there. Now Morries Hall says he will invoke his Fifth Amendment privilege if called to testify.
Normally, when someone says, I'm not testifying, you get the prosecutor to give you immunity, you see, because the prosecutor could force Mr. Hall to testify. All they have to do is say, we're giving you full immunity, which means he can't be prosecuted for any crimes. He can't be violated on his probation, nothing. But so far, they haven't done that.
So why not? Minneapolis defense attorney Joe Tamburino says Morries Hall could be asked to answer questions that could lead to him being charged with third-degree murder in Floyd's death.
Third-degree murder has two parts. One is what Mr. Chauvin is accused of, which is a depraved mind, extremely dangerous act. The second part to third-degree murder is giving someone drugs and that person dies from the drugs. So, yes, you're right. If Mr. Hall doesn't testify, it helps the prosecution.
Now, the judge in that case, in Morries Hall's current cases, actually, I should say, refused to reduce his bail. And the woman he was ordered to stay away from that he was accused of assaulting or convicted of assaulting, she was actually in court via Zoom to show support for him. Now, Morries Hall had an arrest warrant out for his arrest for a case in another county that involved sex trafficking and solicitation. His lawyer said in court that he wasn't aware that he was needed in court for that the information went to the wrong address, and that Hall is actually going to appear in Judge Cahill's court on Tuesday morning, and there will be a hearing on this issue about whether or not he will be able to plead the fifth in the Chauvin trial. Jesse?
Pretty interesting, Anjanette. Now, Brian, what do you think the lawyer for Hall is thinking right now in terms of his client testifying?
Yeah, he's thinking, my client's not testifying. Unless there's going to be some sort of magical plea deal where he gets off on the charges that he's being charged now, or there's, as the local attorney said, some sort of absolute immunity. Otherwise, if I'm his defense attorney, he's not making it 100 feet from this building because I don't want any of his statements to be heard by anyone.
Anjanette, when will Morries Hall be back in court on those felony cases?
Actually, it's going to be in June. And when Morries Hall's public defender, she asked for that June court date, or at least a couple of months. The judge said, why would you want me to push this out so far? I'm not reducing his bail. And she said that she's working and hoping that she can get some type of omnibus or kind of complete overall overreaching resolution to all of these cases. And she talked about having to talk to one of the prosecutors about that. So she wants to work something out, kind of like a big deal that includes also that case in the other county involving the solicitation, along with those other cases in Hennepin County. So pretty interesting that she's eager to wrap all of these up into one and get some type of deal worked out.
Right. And Terry, you got to think what the value is for him to testify for the prosecution. I mean, do you think Morries Hall should be given immunity to testify in the Derek Chauvin trial?
Absolutely not. I don't think he should be granted immunity at all. That should only be granted when there's critical information that a witness can provide for a trial. So, for instance, if a witness needs to testify against another defendant to secure a conviction, or if you need to find the body of someone who's been a victim in a crime, then you might give immunity to a witness. But here we don't have anything like that. His testimony is not needed. We already know, and we've already established, what the crowd, what the bystanders witnessed. He was a bystander. We don't need that information. And we already know from the girlfriend, from Courtney Ross, that there was an opioid addiction. So he has no value to add as far as I'm concerned, and we should not at this point give him immunity.
I don't know. I would be interested to know another perspective, especially someone so close to George Floyd. As much perspective as we can get on what happened that day, I think the better. But we'll wait and see what happens. Thank you for joining us here on Law and Crime Daily. We're going to see you next time as we discuss justice in America.